everyone. Welcome to the Economics Zone. In this channel, we are going to discuss the important topics of economics. So, today I came up with the important topics, that is inflation. In this video, I will going to cover inflation, its types, and the concept of stagflation and deflation. So, what is inflation? Inflation is the general rise in the price of goods and commodities services in an economy over the period of time. For example, in the year 2020, if the price of pen was rupees 10 and in the year 2025 the price of pen increases to rupees 12, then this rise in price is called inflation. Now we will going to classify the inflation on the basis of rate of inflation, or we can say that we can classify the inflation on the basis of speed of increase in the price level. So first is creeping inflation. In creeping inflation, the inflation rate is very slow. The rate of rise of price level is around 1 to 3%. For example, in the year 2018-19, India has experienced creeping inflation. The inflation was around 3 to 4%, which was stable and manageable. Second is walking inflation. In walking inflation, the rate of rise of price level is moderate, which is around 3 to 10%. Creeping and walking inflation both are manageable. In India, we have experienced walking inflation in the year 2009 to 2011 when the price level has touched to 8 to 9%. Third one is galloping inflation. In this inflation, the price level increases at a very high rate and the rate of inflation is around double digit or triple digit also. So if the rate of inflation is more than 10%, 20%, then that type of inflation will fall under the category of galloping inflation. Brazil had experienced galloping inflation in the year 1980s, and there that time the inflation crossed to the level of 20 to 30% every day. Means the inflation rate was increasing every day at the rate of 20 to 30%. So which was huge if we will calculate in terms of annual rate of inflation. Fourth one is hyperinflation. In hyperinflation, the rate of inflation is extremely high. It can go beyond even 1000% annually, more than 1000% also. In actually hyperinflation had been experienced by various countries. For example, Germany had experienced hyperinflation in the year 1923. Zimbabwe also had experienced hyperinflation in the year 2008 and 9, and Venezuela also experienced hyperinflation recently in the year 2016 to 19. Now we will going to further classify the types of inflation on the basis of demand and supply. So first is demand pull inflation. What is this? Demand pull inflation generally occurs when demand of goods or services is higher than that of supply. For example, if the price of AC increases because of limited supply and because of higher demand at the time of summer season, then the price will increase, and in this scenario too much money chasing too few goods. And this type of inflation generally occur when there is a higher demand and lower supply, or we can say that supply is limited and demand is going to increase. Second one is cost push inflation. What is it? This is an inflation in which the cost of goods and services increases because the cost of input or raw materials rises. For example, if the cost of material rises, if the wage rises, fuel price increases, then the production cost will also increase. And this increase in production cost will fall into the category of cost push inflation. Third one is built in inflation. In built in inflation, workers demand higher wages to keep up with the rising prices. In market, there is rise in prices of goods and commodities. So worker demand higher wages from their employer, but as the wage rises, then the cost of production also increases. So the cycle continues. So inflation do not stop, rather the cycle of inflation goes on and on. Till now we have discussed different type of inflation. Now we will going to study the two important term, that is stagflation and deflation. So what is stagflation? So the term stagflation is consist of three important terms, that is inflation, unemployment and stagnation. So we can say that when there is a stagflation, three things happen simultaneously. First, stagnation in the economy. Second, high unemployment. And third is high inflation. Stagflation is generally considered to be unusual. Why? Because inflation and unemployment are moving in same direction. In normal condition, what happen is that inflation and unemployment moves in opposite direction. But in stagflation, opposite is the case. So in case of inflation, both employment and inflation are higher, that make the task of government very difficult to fix this situation. Because for example, if government raises the interest rate to reduce the inflation, then business will not expand. Because of higher rate of interest, business will invest low, and it will impact employment and growth of the economy negatively. Similarly, if government will try to stimulate the economy by reducing in unemployment, then it will reduce the interest rate, but on the other hand, the inflation will rises further. Stagflation has been experienced by various countries, but it was first seen in the year 1970s during oil crisis, when OPEC country cut oil production and raised prices sharply. Because of this increase in price, the cost of other things also increased, because oil is the main engine of the economy. There are so many works that are dependent upon oil, and because of this increase in oil price, it increases the inflation rate. So in that situation, inflation, unemployment and stagnation. All these three were occurring simultaneously in the era of 1970s. That was seen first time. Now come to the topic of deflation. So what is deflation? Deflation is the opposite of inflation. In inflation, there is general rise in price level, but in case of deflation, the price level falls over a period of time. It seems good for the consumer, but it is not good for the producer. Because if the price of commodity decreases, it means company will go in loss. They will cut down the employment rate, layoff happen, and the economic growth impacted negatively. Hence, deflation is not good for the economy. Thank you, everyone. If you have any doubt regarding any topic of economics, then please do let me know in the comment section. I will try to make video for you. Thank you.